So this exercise is called the glute bridge or the hip bridge, and it's brilliant for engaging our glute muscles and also our hip extension as well. And these are really key muscles for us to be able to use as riders. And I'm going to show you a couple of different variations that you can do regardless of your level. So we're going to start really simple and basic, and then we're going to build up to that and make it a little bit more difficult. And as a health and fitness coach, what I love to do is encourage clients to explore their bodies, explore how they move, and ultimately find exercises and a routine that really suits them. It's not about, coming to somebody and saying, make me a plan and following it, religiously, because quite often that's really difficult to do because it doesn't quite fully align with us. And so what I love to be able to do is empower people to say, well, these are the exercises. Why don't you go away and explore them and see what is it that you want to work on? What do you find challenging, and where could you see yourself improving? So we're going to come down to the mat, and we're going to lie down on our backs, and we want our feet nice and flat on the ground, and then we're just going to rest our head there and have a little adjust, get yourself nice and comfortable. And I've got the sun in my eyes here, so I'm going to keep my eyes closed. But essentially we're going to start off using 2 legs, okay? We could use 2 legs, we could use 1 leg. 1 leg is going to be significantly harder because 1 leg is going to be pushing all the weight compared to 2. So first of all, we're just going to start off with 2 legs. We're going to have our arms flat on the mat, and all we're going to do, right, is just push up here and push our hips upwards so that we've got a nice flat long side of a triangle, okay? And we're just going to engage it here, and you're going to feel all the muscles in your hips engage, and also in your glutes, and also probably as well your hamstrings as well. So these muscles are going to be excellent for your lower leg and your leg stability, okay? Because you're going to want a really nice stable base when you're riding your horse. So we're going to push up, and we're going to want that nice, a nice straight line there. And then basically what we're going to do is just gradually and slowly lower our spine back to the mat. And what we want is to be able to have each spiny, each of the bones in the spine come down gradually, and we're also as well sort of tucking our hips in and then lowering our hips to the ground, okay? And so here we're also starting to mobilize the pelvis, as well as being able to activate our muscles in our legs and our hips as well, okay? So we could just do that a couple of times, and what you want to be able to do is really see if you can get your spine nice and mobile, just practicing that movement there, as well as also extending your hips upwards here. So this is your hip bridge or your hip extension exercise, or your glute bridge. We can make that a little bit more difficult and just use 1 leg. So again, coming down, what we can do is we can lift 1 leg off the floor, okay, and then do the same thing. Can you extend your hip upwards off the floor and just support yourself with 1 leg, and then again come back. Then check the other side. Have you got symmetry or have you got asymmetry? Okay, does it feel easier one side? Does it feel more difficult? And do a couple of repetitions each side, okay? The aim of the game here is, can you do, say, 6, 8, 10 repetitions? You might not be able to get to 6, so at least build it up progressively. Don't push yourself. Find sort of what your limit is, and then gradually improve on that each time you you come to the mat and you start to do these exercises. So here you can have your sort of leg bent. You could, if you wanted to, just stretch out your hamstring, point your toe up to the ground, have a nice sort of straight leg, and again, push upwards there. Again, that's the same thing, but just hitting sort of slightly different muscles. You're also getting a nice stretch through your hamstring as well when you're doing that there, okay? And again, if you really flex your toe, you're going to get more of a stretch along the back of your leg. So that is the single leg variation. So depending on your ability, you might want to start using double leg, and then if you're feeling confident and strong enough, you can switch to your single leg as well. So that is that is the hip bridge and the glute bridge exercise that we can do without any equipment at all. We could, if we wanted to, go one step further, and we could start using resistance bands. Before we do use resistance bands, one thing that you could also try is, instead of having your arms on the mat to support yourself, can you extend your arms over your head and then lower your hips and pelvis back to the ground, okay? So literally, can you extend there and then coming back here. So now I'm going to get a resistance band. It doesn't really matter what strength you've got. Just work with, you can have something with quite a bit of resistance, you can have something with not a lot of resistance. It doesn't really matter, because you're going to find that you progress anyway as you gradually do these exercises. So what we're going to do is we're going to just put our feet right through the band here, and then we're going to rest it sort of just at the top of our thighs, just below our knees, just there, okay? Again, a nice stable base, feet hip width apart, and we're just going to, again, do that double leg hip bridge and pushing upwards there. What the resistance band is adding a little bit of extra pressure so that we can also keep our legs outwards, okay? So as riders, you've got to think, like, we're constantly getting our leg on the horse, and so we're constantly building up those muscles, but really we want everything to be nice and even and balanced out. So we also want to be able to strengthen the muscles that are pushing our legs outwards as well. So these banded hip bridge exercises are also brilliant to do. And there we have it. We have a couple of different variations that you can do very simply. You can use those on the mat. You can add in an overhead movement with your arms. You can use single leg, you use double leg. You can also add in a resistance band as well. So have fun trying these exercises out.